Good morning, everybody. We're really glad to see you, and we hope you've enjoyed fellowshipping and having breakfast with other small group leaders today. Each cell group leader present is a team player, and you're here at this moment because you've successfully completed an amazing journey for all or part of the past 3 semesters. And today is a celebration. We're celebrating God's blessings on our life and cell group leaders and the participants. You know, without the participants, there wouldn't have been anyone to lead or to teach. Yet you made a significant impact, and you've influenced many people by your faithful commitment to teach, pray, and care for others. And we thank you so much for all you've done. I think it's important for us to give this team a pat on the back and a warm smile for a job well done. So go ahead, give your neighbor a big congratulations because they deserve it. I want to briefly share 2 important leadership thoughts with you this morning. I borrowed some ideas from John Maxwell and Jim Collins, Apostle Paul, and even used some of my own thoughts. So I hope you'll hear my heart this morning and God's heart. If you've ever led people, which you have, you've come across followers who'd rather act the part than actually do their part. You know, on the surface, they appear to be productive members, but if you look closely, you start seeing cracks in their facade. These people are pretenders. They do everything they can to look like players. In fact, they're more motivated by appearing productive than being productive. With them on a team, momentum suffers and the relationships always are compromised. They can't be trusted to do the work because they're really focused so hard on how they appear. Christ Fellowship leaders are all about relationships. So let's consider 3 levels of leadership relationships. First, leaders can just simply impress others, but just from a distance. Secondly, leaders can then influence others if they get a bit closer. Then lastly, leaders can impact others only in close relationships. We're all familiar with the word facade. It's actually a figure of speech that describes the face that people show others as opposed to what they really think or do. A few years ago, Janie tried to shock me by showing off her new facade, and I mean her new diamond. Oh yeah, as she lifted her hand to show me this beautiful glittering diamond, her eyebrows lifted up, and my drama queen wife had me for just a moment. She nearly got me and tricked me until she saw the blood, leaving my countenance. Janie's diamond ring was just a cubic zirconia ring, but it looked very similar to a diamond, and the more closely I looked at it, I realized that it wasn't really the real deal. There are subtle ways that we can tell real deal players from pretenders or somebody who puts on a facade. So here's the guiding principle. Pretenders look the part, talk the part, claim the part, but they fall short of fulfilling the part. Players really have a servant's mindset. Pretenders have a selfish mindset. Players do things to help others in the group. Pretenders only think about benefiting themselves because they're narrowly focused on things that are in their best interest. Players are mission conscious, whereas pretenders are position conscious. See, the players will give up a position to achieve a mission, but the pretenders give up a mission to achieve a position. For players, the success of the mission is much, much more important than their own place within the team, but pretenders only value their position. Our small group leaders are volunteers who are storing up treasure in heaven. Players deliver the goods, but pretenders just promise the goods. Players finish the task every time, but pretenders just claim the ability to do so, and in the end, they don't really execute well. Jim Collins, author of the best-selling book, Good to Great, Why Some Companies Make the Leap and Others Don't, found that the best leaders were highly determined yet humble people. Paul the Apostle said in 1 Peter 5, 6-7, "Therefore humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time." Players love what they do, and they do it well. Pretenders are job hunters. They can't do what they do where they are, but they think they could do it better somewhere else. Maybe that's why some folks are church hoppers. The players find their work fulfilling and meaningful and are devoted to doing it well. Pretenders are focused on appearing competent and believe that problems are typically the fault of someone else, not them. They believe that the problems are the fault of somebody else and not their own. But here's what Collins found. He found that the great organizational players had an unrelenting inner sense of determination, and they displayed an entrepreneurial spirit. They were deeply committed to high standards of excellence. These type organizations thrived when the individuals were working in their strength zones. Congratulations, small group leaders. You are in your strength zone. Players love to see others succeed. but pretenders are only interested in their own success. We probably all start out really as competitors, but the goal is for us to grow past that. A player's really happiest when other members of the team succeed, because really it benefits everybody. But pretenders see success as a win-lose proposition, and they resent it when another person wins. But your small group situation is a win-win situation. Players value godly character, but pretenders value image. For ships, the rule is that the part that's under the surface weighs more than what's above the surface. Otherwise, the ship will get top-heavy and capsize during a storm. Godly character and integrity are like that. What's under the surface has to be greater than what's in plain sight. A player can be counted on to do the right thing even if nobody's looking. Pretenders only do the right thing when others are looking, and when whatever's expedient when others are not. Collins found that the best organizations stayed true to their values while simultaneously adjusting to the cultural norms. Our small group leaders found ways to accommodate people and stay true to godly principles. Players make the hard choices, but pretenders make the easy choices. You know, with a hard choice, the price is really paid on the front end. The payoff comes later. The hard choice usually places others and the organization above self. Players make those decisions, but pretenders avoid them because the risk outweighs the acclaim. The best players work to transform other people's lives. Collins noted that transformers really did three things. First, determine what you can be best at in your world and what you cannot be best at in your world. See, the Acts 2 principle is to start in your local hub or your community and expand as far as God provides growth. Collins said to determine what actually drives your success. We're going to look at what actually worked for you and your small group in just a few minutes. Collins said to determine what you are deeply passionate about. Maxwell found out what people are most passionate about by asking them to ponder three questions. What do you dream about? What do you sing about? And what do you cry about? These three questions may actually help you find your passion and ultimate calling in God. Players finish well, but pretenders fade out. Some people start as players and then they turn into pretenders. But why? They make the choice to begin, but get tired of the work that it takes to continue, or they get confronted with a need to change. But unwilling to do that, they begin pretending in order to get by. A player takes all tasks to completion, thinks of the wins of a team of true players and what they can achieve. If you remember, Jesus told Peter to feed my sheep, to tend them, and to care for them. Congratulations, small group leaders, and thank you for doing just that. The second idea I want to share is vision. If you're an Atlanta Braves fan, you know who B.J. Upton is. Back in April, he started wearing prescription glasses during the games. And they quoted B.J. as saying, "I think it was enough for me to not really pick up spin on the ball." Most of us actually lose some ability to see the spin on things. We do need to get our vision tested by a professional. I will have my annual eye exam in just a few days. I have something called astigmatism. Like nearsightedness and farsightedness, astigmatism is a refractive error. It means that it's not really an eye health problem. It's a problem with how the eye focuses light. The shape of my eye keeps me from focusing well. Often my vision is blurred or distorted to some degree at all distances. So without glasses, I experience eye strain and sometimes headaches after I've been reading or using the computer for a while. Okay, it's time for you to answer a question. How good is your eyesight? Do you have perfect 20/20 vision? As a kid, I used to try on my dad's glasses or someone else's glasses, and you know what that seems like when you wear someone else's glasses that don't fit your prescription. Vision is a very important thing. Mama, Janie's mom, who's nearly 85, visited us this past week. While she was here, she told me that she believed the most dreaded disease for her would be to lose her vision or ability to see. Natural vision parallels spiritual vision. You're probably familiar with Proverbs 29:18 that says, "People die for a lack of vision." How did James Cameron direct a movie as incredible as Titanic or Avatar? How is Alicia Keys able to write world-class music in an era when few elite performers pen their own lyrics? How does Pixar keep churning out animated blockbusters? The answers all involve vision. So what happens to those who do have excellent vision? Well, the best leaders are able to see a vision and then activate it by stepping forward. They're also willing to sacrifice to see that vision come to fruition. Small group leaders, I believe that you have fantastic vision. Here are 4 vision keys. 1. See the vision. Did you know many people don't jumpstart their lives because they don't have anything to jump to? They plod along through life just trying to survive. But visionaries do dare to dream, and they actually look into the future and generate possibilities in their mind's eye. Take, for example, Michelangelo. As he looked into the stone, he said, "I saw the angel in the marble, carved until I set him free." Michelangelo's imagination had already created his masterpieces before his hands actually did the work. Christ Fellowship has 10 core values. Value number 9 says, we believe that the best channel for life and growth within the church is small groups. The second key is step toward the vision. Some people see the vision, but they just never step toward it. They cannot quite seem to conjure up the courage to overcome their fear, and they cannot find the passion sometimes to get past their apathy. As a consequence, their vision sits on the shelf until it spoils or until someone else takes initiative to claim it. More than 2 months before Alexander Graham Bell submitted his patent for the telegraph, Elisha Gray had already arrived at the conclusion that the voice could be transmitted over telegraph wire. Why is Elisha Gray anonymous? Alexander Graham Bell, a celebrated inventor? Because Gray procrastinated 2 months before putting his vision on paper. Then when he finally finished his sketch, Gray delayed another 4 days before taking it to the patent office. When he finally made up his mind to go, he arrived just 2 hours too late. Bell had already secured the patent, and Gray's idea was worthless. Our vision at Christ Fellowship is to help people know God, grow in Him, and show Him to the world around them through their personal lives, their families, and their relationships with other like-minded believers. As a small group leader, you have stepped toward the vision. The third key is sacrifice for the vision. Visionaries give up to go up. They bypass good to gain a shot at being great. Jim Collins maintained that great organizations have narrow, clearly defined objectives, and the great ones focus all their energies and resources on those few objectives. We sometimes fail. But at Christ Fellowship, we're not fearing failure. Rather, we fear losing out on opportunities. For God has not given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind. Congratulations, you jumped at the opportunity to serve God and others as a small group leader. Key number 4, seek help for the vision. We've all heard that teamwork makes the dream work. If you can achieve your vision by flying solo, then chances are you're not doing anything worthwhile. You know, a big dream requires a talented team in order to take root in reality. Wilt Chamberlain was one of the most gifted athletes to ever set foot on a basketball court, and he still holds the NBA record for the most points in a game, that being 100 points. The most rebounds in a game, 55, and the highest scoring average for a season, 50.4 points per game. But Wilt was so talented that he had trouble meshing with his teammates. At one point, the coaches even advised him to shoot less so that the other players could be involved. Despite his prodigious abilities, Wilt never won a championship while the star player of his team. However, he did eventually learn to become an unselfish player. As his point totals declined, he became better and better at setting up teammates to score. Well past the prime of his career, Wilt finally won and achieved his vision of winning a title. And as a role player for the Los Angeles Lakers, he captured 2 national championships. His growth as a teammate made him an invaluable asset, even though his athleticism had diminished from its peak. In closing, I want to encourage each of you in your journey as a disciple of Jesus. Stay the course. Continue to be faithful in your journey, your growth journey in Christ. And be the best team player you can be. Go get a vision exam. Learn, grow, explore greater depths in God's ultimate calling for your life. Hear Paul's admonition. Friends, don't get me wrong. By no means do I count myself as an expert in all this, but I've gotten my eye on the goal where God is beckoning us onward to Jesus. I'm often running and I'm not turning back. So let's keep focused on that goal. Those of us who want everything God has for us. If any of you has something else in mind, something less than total commitment, God will clear your blurred vision. You'll see it yet. Now that we're on the right track, let's stay on it. Stick with me, friends. Keep track of those you see running this same course, headed for this same goal.